Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Vishnu Shom and you're watching a very special program. We are broadcasting live from Vijay Chowk in the center of the national capital on a day in which it's been an air emergency. The levels of pollution in the air today have to be seen to be believed. That's right, you can actually see the pollution as well. You can smell it as well, you can sense it. For the last several days, people in the national capital have had irritable throats, they've had eyes watering, many have had respiratory distress. What we've decided to do today is actually to bring together a cross-section of voices. So we've got doctors, different types of doctors. We've got those who are dealing with people out on the road. We've got teachers, we've got students, and we've got political leaders as well. The idea on this program is to give you an idea of what people in Delhi are experiencing right now. And I can answer one basic question off the top of my head. Why is it that just a few of the people over here, the students in the WAC, are wearing a mask and I'm not? The answer is, in just the last 45 minutes or so, it's cleared up a little over here. But I think the message is absolutely clear. In these conditions, you must wear a mask if you are going up. And why do I say that? Take a look at this. This is the Suffer app. It's one of many apps which are actually available. And the number of the AQI, the air quality index, is 708. Of that, the primary pollutant is PM 2.5. PM 2.5 is possibly the most insidious type of small particle that enters your bloodstream by going through your lungs, and it creates a whole lot of problems, particularly in the elderly and particularly in children. So what is normal in that case? Well, a normal number is 0 to 50. It then becomes satisfactory, 50 to 100, moderate up to 200, and then finally it enters the severe level, which is at 400. And between 400 and 500 it's severe. It's off the charts at this juncture as we speak. So what we've decided to do is to actually make an NDTV Citizens Charter on fighting air pollution. I'm going to come to that in a moment from now, but first take a look at what the government has said today. What exactly has the Prime Minister said? What have other ministers said? Well, the Prime Minister is out of the country. As we went on air, there wasn't anything substantial from the Prime Minister's office, nothing from the Prime Minister himself, but there was Dr. Harshvardhan who actually made a suggestion and he tweeted it out. He said, have carrots, it's good for your health, it's an antioxidant and it helps you fight pollution. But I think the point that everybody here would know is that, are we a bit late to be talking about eating carrots on a day in which pollution went up over a 24-hour period, according to the air quality index, to 708? Surely there needed to have been more that is said. Surely there needs to be more in terms of information to citizens, millions, not just in Delhi, but across the national capital region, on what they need to do to deal with this situation. Yes, schools are shut. Yes, some steps have been taken. The odd-even scheme, we'll be talking about that, kicks in soon. But there is a lot more that perhaps needed to have been communicated from the centre as well. But as I mentioned, there is an NDTV Citizens Charter on fighting air pollution that we've come in with. And we're going to be sending this to the Prime Minister as well. Some leading environmentalists that we were in touch with actually helped us produce this. And I'm going to tell our viewers over here what this Citizens Charter is. We felt that there were three things that the government needed to do, three broad categories, at the level of the centre, the level of the state, and at the level of citizens. So let's start with what we felt the centre should do. Number one, stop the delayed implementation on existing national emission standards for power plants. Power plants must have emission standards. There's been enough talk on this. It's time that these emission standards are enforced. Secondly, convene an interstate multi-stakeholder process to address the root causes of agricultural stubble burning and identify a lasting cause. The pollution load at this juncture in Delhi is to a very large extent as a result of the burning of agricultural residue in Haryana and primarily in Punjab. That is the root problem. What lies in terms of a remedy to that? And C, strengthen pollution control boards, make their functioning much more transparent. That is stating the obvious. Also, start developing an airshed management program that looks at regions and not just cities. This is absolutely important because very often there is a sense that, look, there's a problem of pollution in Delhi. No, there is a problem of pollution not just in Delhi or Gurgaon or in Noida, it's across North India. And the flow of PM 2.5 extends across a huge area. Very briefly, what can state governments do? Number one, rapidly scale up public transport. Number two, make approvals for the new construction more stringent and improve enforcement of pollution norms. If there is a new construction, what are the environmental norms? Make sure that they are properly implemented. And see, what can all of us as citizens do? Number one, make air pollution a voting issue. Air pollution is not a political issue in this country. And we're going to ask our political leaders over here why that's not the case. What are they going to do in terms of being serious about this? B, use public transportation and reduce and manage your own waste in your area, in your neighborhood better. So those really are a couple of the key points that we're going to be looking at today. I'm going to go first across to Bhaskar Ghosh, the BJP leader. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.
Are you surprised that on a day like this, nothing has been said or more needs to have been said either by senior leaders or by the Prime Minister himself?
See, first of all, let me tell you that after coming to power 2014, our government has substantially, step by step, has augmented a lot of programs in order to clean the environment. The latest program we launched in January 2019 is NCAP, National Clean Air Programs. Under that programs, we have created a lot of infrastructures so that within a span of 5-year programs, the reduction of the pollutions goes up to 30% to all major 102 cities.
But sir, most respectfully, my question is not about this program.
What we have done.
Why has the Prime Minister not said a word today?
No.
As of 6 p.m. this evening.
I think this is wrong. Prime Minister is the most active Prime Minister in France. He has already committed to the World Forum that what are the commitments of India in terms of the green revolution.
But on a day when it's 708 on the air quality index.
This is not a one-day affair. It's all
but
of a
we are
sudden
dying today.
Affair. Yeah, exactly. So Prime Minister has addressed the issue right from the day one. He has taken up his position as a Prime Minister, on every occasions, right from France to different parts of the world. He has committed that this is our contribution towards the green air. It is a contribution towards lowering the pollution of the world environment as well as the national environment.
Okay, let me get a reaction to that.
We have come up with the latest act to reduce the pollution in terms of industries, in terms of
we've been talking about this for a long time.
In terms of the construction pollution.
But let me come across to Mr. Shastri.
The state government has to implement it.
Right, and we'll get the state government representative sitting next to you. But Yoganand Shastri, former health minister of the Congress party, do you believe more needs to have been said by the Prime Minister on a day like today?
देखिए, मैं इस समस्या को छोटा नहीं करना चाहता, किसी पार्टी पॉलिटिक्स की बात मैं नहीं करूँगा। सबको मिलकर के काम करना पड़ेगा। दिन पर दिन हम समस्याओं से घिर रहे हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी क्या हैं, मुख्यमंत्री जी क्या हैं, आप सब जानते हैं। हमारे साथी ने आपको बताया वो कितना ठीक है, कितना नहीं है, ये भी आप जानते हैं। हम सबको मिलकर ये करना पड़ेगा, और नहीं किया तो आज तो पॉल्यूशन की समस्या हमारे सामने है, कल को ओजोन परत की भी आएगी, परसों पानी की भी आएगी। राजेंद्र सिंह जो पानी के बारे में इतना काम कर रहे हैं, उनका कहना है कि 2025 तक यदि यही हालत रही और पानी का प्रबंध हमने करके और नीचे नहीं पहुंचाया तो 2025 तक लाखों लोग दिल्ली से पलायन कर जाएंगे.
Okay, I'll get more political reactions, but I wanted to actually go across to some of the students over here. Can any one of you, and do raise your hands, tell me how it affects you? How does it affect your life? Would you like to answer that question? Is there anybody else? Raise your hands. Who'd like to? I'll come across to you because this is something that affects children in a very, very bad way. So why don't you tell me, how does it affect your life?
Well, I'm a sports person, and throughout the year we work really hard for our national tournaments which are around this time. And since the past 3 years, because of the pollution levels, all our tournaments get cancelled. We can't practice, we can't go out in fact. So I would request the government not to play a blame game amongst each other and try to cooperate and support while bringing a common solution for children like us who are demanding our right to live, our right to breathe.
Yeah. Put up your poster, let's see what it says. Can I ask you all to put up your posters, give back the blue skies, clean up your mess. We'll be voting next. I think all our political leaders need to be looking at this. We'll be voting next. Perhaps so far in elections it's not been an issue, but these children will be voting, so you need to get your act together. You actually went and decided to protest in front of the Prime Minister's residence, and what? The police said you need to go away from there, right?
Actually, we weren't met with a good response and we were disbanded. And I think the issue with this is that this needs to be taken up very seriously by our politicians now. And children are not going to take this standing back or sitting down. We need to come to the forefront and we need to ask that we have a right to clean air, but why isn't it being given to us? The party in power is responsible for our health, and I think it's completely neglected the voices of the children of India.
All right. Neglected the voices of the children of India. Let me go across to the Aam Aadmi Party representative, Akshay Marathe over here. Arvind Kejriwal did go on record today. But when I saw what he had to say, it seemed to me that he's thrown his hands up in the air and he said, look, there's nothing more I can do. Is that what you feel like today? Is that your message to millions of people in Delhi? There's nothing more you can do.
I think what Mr. Kejriwal said was that as far as Delhi is concerned, between the months of February and the first or second week of October, this year Delhi has had more or less good to moderate air quality. But suddenly between October and today, things have gotten completely out of hand. It's unbearable. I am a citizen of Delhi. I'm not able to breathe. And what Mr. Kejriwal was saying is that it's not up to the people or the government of Delhi to control something that is not sourced inside of Delhi. So the point that the Aam Aadmi Party has been making for the last few days is that if a crisis is as big as the entire North Indian plain, then it has to be up to all political parties in this region. All governments have to come together and work out a solution. And that's what Mr. Kejriwal was saying. And in fact, to this effect, on 26th of September 2019, he had written to the Chief Ministers of Punjab and Haryana and to the Environment Minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar, requesting them, urging them to take urgent steps well in advance of crop burning. But nor did he get any response from them, nor was there any action on their part.
Okay.
So it's a bit disturbing as a citizen of Delhi.
I want to have just one more reactions on this. Now he mentioned that from February to October is moderate levels. I am checking all the records. Even in the month of February and March, our norms is 25 to 50, and now it has, that time it was 150 to 165, which is fairly high. And India, Delhi becomes top 10 pollutant cities of the world.
It's the most polluted city in the world
So
right
that's
now.
what I'm telling you. It's not a crop burning. Every time Aam Aadmi Party is directing towards crop burning.
This episode
crop
is
burning is a positive catalyst
Are you
towards
saying
it.
that
But
what
in
is
Delhi,
happening right
overall
now is not
Delhi,
crop burning?
you check
Because
the
I'll
records.
put that to environmentalists.
You check the record of last 5 years in Delhi.
In fact,
it
Vimlendu,
is
would you
on
like
and
to
over
come in?
105
We will
to
get
150
we've got the
to
best people on
165.
this program
Let
to
me
answer that
quickly join
question.
Vishnu.
One
Quickly
second,
join.
Vimlendu. What we are seeing now, there is a problem of pollution in Delhi. Nobody is denying that. But right now, is this because of stubble burning in Punjab and Haryana, the maximum load?
The spike, of course, as in if you look at Suffer study, almost from 25% to 70% of the pollution load in this fortnight is because of stubble burning. But at the same time, you need to look at if Delhi has become the toxic capital of the world, or is throughout the year, almost 320 days in a year, Delhi's air quality is actually very, very unhealthy. So for Aam Aadmi Party to say that September the air was very, very good and only because of stubble burning the situation has become worse, we'll not be able to address the the problem. Similarly, BJP spokesperson saying that NCAP, 300 crores for a city like our, for an entire country for 3 years for 100 cities is what NCAP stands for, which means 1 crore for Delhi a year, and 3,000 crores for a statue, making a statue in that sense. So it's a misplaced priority. Everyone here, including the local government right now, when we do not have public transport, when you have actually cut down almost 1 crore trees in the last 5 years, you will have a problem. And Delhi breathes toxic air 365 days. And all these politicians, including Aam Aadmi Party or Congress or BJP, are responsible for this mess.
Okay, all parties are responsible for this mess.
I want to correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
For NCAP, it is 300, but for 2019-20, for 18-19, central government has allocated 3,111.86 crores.
Yep.
And for Delhi, 700 crores, which is all-time high. Last year, it was from last year, it was 20.27% higher.
Okay,
on
so
account of
Santosh,
this.
why don't you jump in over here? What Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh has said is, he says this government at the centre is very serious about fighting pollution. It's not just about NCAP, it's about several schemes which have been announced. Is there something in the works as a result of which air pollution in Delhi, through the efforts of the centre, will go down in a finite period of time? Not 10 years, a year, maybe 2 years. Is there anything like that?
So, firstly, I think it's important to point out that air pollution is not Delhi specific, it is not winter specific as we just discussed, it's not even city specific. One of, to your question of is there a particular intervention that can have a clear, tangible effect on air quality? I think the power plant emission standards that you mentioned earlier, that to me would be possibly the single most important thing that the central government can take leadership on and push.
Right.
Power plants are the largest source of sulfur dioxides. They're among the largest sources of nitrogen oxides, both of which are precursors of secondary particulate matter. Taking action on this is taking action on a relatively finite number of sources. We're not talking about millions of households burning, biomass and chulas, or thousands of farmers or anything, but clear technology, a limited number of power plants, and standards that the Environment Ministry of the current government released in 2015.
Right.
Of the 33 power plants that are there in Delhi NCR, only 2 plants have complied with the sulfur dioxide standards.
Right.
31 have not, and they were supposed to comply by the end of this year. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for 2 years.
So, Geetika, let me come across to you, and I know we are jumping all over the place because there are so many topics, but you are an educator. You look after environmental studies at a leading school in Delhi and in Gurgaon. As a teacher, when your kids aren't allowed to play in the play yard, when that's what children are supposed to do throughout the year, when you go to a class and you see children coming in with a cough or being unable to come to school, how do you as a teacher deal with it in having to meet that need of a child, to be told it's okay, things will get better, when you perhaps know that things are probably getting worse?
Actually, enough and more has been said about environment, and everybody knows this stubble burning is happening and this is happening, and every year we face this as a school. And I only speak from the heart when I say that every generation has a responsibility. The onus is on us to leave it a little better for the next generation. One, we fail miserably there. And like in our school, we have this morning prayer which has very powerful lines, as in all schools. Prayers are meant to be very powerful, where the child says, Prabhu mera bachpan ho sundar, and Prabhu mera desh bhi ho sundar. And the dichotomy of it all is appalling, because I feel so cheated when such a thing happens, and where we teach our children so many things, like, right from the year beginning, we teach them not to burn lodi, and not to, we teach them to be so environmentally conscious. We teach them safe manja, so no kite flying. We teach them, no herbal colors, and don't play holy with water. We are not a country where we can waste water, planktons and microbeads in their so many things, so many endeavors. Don't burn Ravan, don't burn crackers, and they do all of that. and then we come to this. At
Right.
the end of the day, the paradox is something which I can't handle, that ma'am, we do all the right things and then again we give up the joy of burning crackers and yet we face this, is something which is very distressing.
बताइए सर.
देखिए, जहाँ तक पराली जलाने की बात है, ये बहुत वर्षों से जल रही है, कभी भी इतना प्रदूषण नहीं होता था.
तो अब क्यों हो रहा है?
अब दूसरे कारण में आप यदि पराली जहाँ जलाई जाती है सबसे ज़्यादा जगह पे, वो है अम्बाला, करनाल, कैथल, वहाँ ये नहीं है इस समय.
ऐसी बात नहीं.
ये पराली जलाने की बात तो खामखा का हुआ बनाया गया है. आप दिल्ली में सबसे मोटा कारण ये है, किसी भी रोड पर जाइए आप.
नहीं, पर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जो स्टबल बर्निंग हो रहा है पंजाब में, आप कह रहे हैं कि इसका कोई असर नहीं है दिल्ली पे?
नहीं, हल्का, बहुत
हल्का, सिर्फ हल्का
हो सकता है. दूसरे कारण है, आप जाइए किसी भी रोड पर, खास करके छोटी रोड है, उससे धूल उठती है, गाड़ियाँ चलती हैं, वो आकाश में जाता है. असली कारण वो है, उसको हम ठीक नहीं कर रहे हैं, ना समझ रहे हैं, ना.
Okay, let me ask Avikal that question. Avikal Somvanshi is a program manager at CSC. He says that stubble burning is not the major factor at the moment.
At the moment, stubble burning is the major factor, but he's also pointing out the right thing, that all the roads are also a factor. The roads are of bad conditions. There's a lot of road dust which is being generated. All the roads are dug out, and when the vehicles are plying on them, they get damaged and they emit more because of that.
No, but tell me about stubble burning.
Yeah.
Are we in the media exaggerating the impact of stubble burning now?
No, right now stubble burning is the biggest factor which is contributing to this air right now. But this lasts for 2 weeks and it will end up mid of November to end of November.
It goes without saying that we've got problems.
Yeah, we got problems.
People want to know whether this is because of stubble burning now.
This is
primarily.
I will say 50% of this is about stubble burning, as the stuffer has put it out.
And that's on the basis of scientific
Sir,
studies.
I just
As
want to
what
give
the
you one
suffer says.
statistics by the
Vishnu,
WHO.
let me come in, please.
I'm just reading it out. According to WHO, survey of 1600 world cities, 2 other cities in India have worse air quality than
Yes,
Delhi.
they do.
Which is Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh and Raipur in Chhattisgarh.
Yes.
See that Delhi's position. Today Aam Aadmi Party is claiming Delhi was very clean and all of a sudden stubble burning. In WHO reports 2019 that
but
the
sir,
worst is the worst
50% of the load right now,
I
according to
object.
environmentalists who build a career on this, right now is because of stubble burning.
Yeah, because throughout the year Delhi government has got no...
Delhi government cannot control the situation in Punjab.
No, but because of Punjab, it is not gone to this level. All with even the WHO report is telling.
All right.
WHO
Allow
report is
allow me
telling
to come in.
Delhi is the worst of the Indian
Go ahead.
cities.
Vishnu, the fact of the matter is that just 20 days ago, the skies were blue. The air quality index was below 100, maximum 150. Between that day and today, has the number of vehicles in Delhi gone up? Has the number of industries in Delhi gone up? Have more people suddenly settled inside Delhi? Absolutely not. The only thing that has changed is the fact that farms in Punjab and Haryana are on fire, and the central government and the Punjab and Haryana governments have done nothing to stop it. Now, allow me to say one more thing. 5 days ago, this started happening suddenly. In these 5 days, the environmental minister could have called for one meeting between Punjab and Haryana and Delhi chief ministers. That has not been done. Nor has a health advisory been issued by the central government for all of North India. Delhi government has issued an advisory
quick
to our
reaction
people.
from
We
you
have
first,
shut
and
down
then I'll come
schools.
to you. Yes.
A slightly complex point, but I think it's important to make. Over the course of the year, transport emissions, waste burning, construction dust, all of these are important sources of Delhi's air pollution. Right? During this time of the year, meteorological conditions are such that pollutants don't get dispersed away quite as quickly as they do during the summers or during the rains. So even in the absence of stubble burning, we would have seen high pollution levels. Over this limited 2-3 week period, the stubble burning makes a bad situation worse. I mean, I understand that it's important to be able to sort of point fingers sometimes, but in some ways everybody here is sort of correct. But I do think we're sort of missing the point if we insist on making stubble burning the scapegoat.
No, I think that's important.
Adding
No,
to
Vishnu,
Santosh,
I think
adding to
completely take
Santosh,
that
let me
point.
just
I
firstly
completely
give
take
you the science of it. Adding to Santosh, the weather has changed between September to now.
Yes.
It's not the same weather. It's colder, wind is lesser, and that has changed apart from everything else, apart from this. whether the air pollution level in Delhi was already 250 before this episode started, before Diwali. It was 250. This has made it to 600. So that 250 was the baseline, and 250 is already severe category. So don't say that Delhi was clean. Delhi was clean because the weather was good.
I completely take your point. My only limited submission is that whatever pollution is coming out of Delhi itself, the Delhi government is trying to deal with it. For example, from tomorrow we are starting odd even, which will definitely have an impact on vehicular emissions.
Akshay, one moment. We'll
so
talk
it's
about
not that
odd
we are not
even.
doing something about our local sources. It's
we'll
just
talk about that and odd
current
even
crisis.
extensively. But I want to just interrupt because we've got Sunil Jakhar, the president of the Punjab Congress. He joins us now live on this program. Thank you, sir, very much for joining us. A lot of people in Delhi feel the Punjab government has not done enough to cut down on stubble burning. Millions of people, not just in Delhi, but across North India, are suffering. What is your view on this? Why have you not done enough?
We have done our bits on whatever we could do given our limited resources. And I'm not here to blame anybody, neither the government in Delhi nor the government at center. But let me be very clear. Slogans or issuing advisories will not help. It needs monetary support. Punjab government has done its bit as long as the farmers' management of the stubble. This is included as a cost of production when you decide MSP. Minimum support price for the crop. It will not go away. We are trying to brush it under the carpet. Yes, stubble burning is one of the major causes for this spike that you see today in the AQI levels. But this is not the only cause. But I am confining myself to the problem for which is being attributed to Punjab farmer. I must say farmer is being unduly being pointed out. As they say, you give a dog a bad name and kill it. But I think farmer is not doing it of choice.
But then tell me this, sir. Mr. Jakhar, are you saying that you need financial support from the center to actually ensure that crop residue is taken care of, and that unless the center contributes more, then you cannot essentially do anything and that this will continue? Is that the point you're making?
Precisely, that is the point. For your information, in this season, Punjab government has taken action against 3,000 farmers. We have provided 15,000 machines to take care of it, but it's too small. If you look at the quantum of paddy which is grown, is about 30 lakh hectares. How are 15,000 machines going to help? How do you control a whole farming community in it? Unless and until, because this has financial costs involved. They have to sow their wheat crop, and this is the window of opportunity. They cannot wait till the straw get decomposed in the thing. They have to get rid of it, and they are doing it out of, as you call, majburi. It's their compulsion, a financial compulsion. How many people?
Okay, Mr. Jakhar, I just want to get a quick reaction on that. Vimlendu, the point, and I know you can't hear him, but what Mr. Jakhar is saying is that Punjab alone cannot sort this out. There are huge financial compulsions which need to be met. The center has to chip in more. The infrastructure needs to be developed to ensure that residue is removed. Is he correct when he says that? Is that the only way forward?
Absolutely. So if you need to really solve the problem of North India, we will actually have to look at economically, socially, culturally, and then ecologically also. Last week I was doing a program.
So what does one do with crop residue then?
So there are ways, as in, right now, if you look at the crops that we grow, and the reason why in 2 weeks people have to, the farmers, the poorest of the poor farmers, actually, we are talking about 26 lakh farmers, and what, 60,000 of these machines that the central government has given. 1,100 crores is what the government has given. Last week with a program with you, we were celebrating that there's less stubble burning, and I clearly told you it's too early to really say that, stubble burning is not going to happen. I think financial incentives, central government and the respective state governments, what we grow, how we grow, when do we grow, how do we actually make farmers the stakeholder of the entire conversation, just to make farmers the custodian of our environment without giving them financial incentive. Each of these machines costs somewhere around 2 lakhs to 60 lakhs. Who can afford it? So you can't really say that, oh well, farmers are polluting and they are burning. Farmers are polluting and burning all the stubble because the government is not creating an enabling environment or not providing enough facilities, enough machinery to the farmers. So I would not squarely blame them for that. And in September, air was not blue in Delhi because something so virtuous or great that the government of Delhi had actually done.
There was a depression.
It was weather. Okay. So rather than, if you look at the Chief Minister of Delhi last 2 days or 3 days, or Akshay for that matter, showing all those photos of wow clean air, it's misplacing the problem.
Okay. I'm going to take a short break now. I'm going to come back with this. After that, I'm going to get to the serious issues of health. And that's something which affects so many. We've got wonderful doctors with us. And what about those who are less privileged, who are weaker financially, and they're out on the roads? Who looks after them? Who tells them what they're suffering? That's coming up in the next few minutes. Welcome back. We've been tracking the air pollution in the National Capital Region at a time when it's gone out of control. The air quality index is literally off the charts. It was on an average over 24 hours at 708. 0 to 50 is considered good air. The big question is this: does anybody really care? People are suffering over here. There have not been very many serious statements of intent today. We keep talking about this year after year. Has anything changed? In fact, it's not. There's even a cricket match happening between India and Bangladesh now. They've decided to go ahead with that. But doctor, let me come to you first. There's a cricket match happening, a T20 match. You are Dr. Shalabh Sharma, an ENT at Gangaram. Over the last couple of days, has there been an increase in the number of patients coming into the hospital with respiratory distress?
There has been a tremendous increase in the number of patients, but to tell you the truth, there are already a very large number of patients coming in with respiratory problems throughout the year. And the funny thing is, let's say about 10-15 years ago, patients with a common cold would stay at common cold and get better with some medicine. Now patients with a common cold usually have sinusitis, and at least about 50% or more of them require bronchodilators, the medicines that we give to asthmatics, because without that the cough just doesn't go away. But these are all the primary effects that we are seeing. What scares me, I'm an ENT surgeon, I understand medicine and what's behind this. What scares me the most is the amount of long-term chronic illnesses we are going to see in the future, especially cancers. The number of cancers that we are going to see in the future is going to be so much. Right now you have 10 of us in the front row here. I tell you, 10 years from now, you may have 10 cancer patients sitting here who have no predisposition towards getting cancer, don't take any product that causes cancer, and will still have cancer. I have my thoracic guys in the hospital telling me they are seeing 25-year-old women nowadays with lung cancer who are non-smokers, have never smoked, not exposed to second-hand smoke either. And they have cancer, and they usually, because they're young, no one thinks of cancer. When they come with cough and cold, they get diagnosed late. They are usually in stage 4 with METs. This is the future for our country, unfortunately, and it's not just lung. PM 2.5 and smaller particles enter the bloodstream through the lungs. They go to every organ in the body and they settle down, and there is no way that you can get rid of them. So it's a cumulative effect over the next 10-15 years.
In fact, I wanted to ask Dr. Dipali Bhardwaj, you're a dermatologist.
Yes.
How does this pollution affect the skin?
As my learned friend here is telling about lung cancer, but skin is the largest organ. And interestingly, when I was a student, we hardly used to see skin cancer. And at my clinic in Defence Colony, in last 6 weeks, I have diagnosed 2 skin cancer patients. Skin cancer can be fatal, and skin is an organ which we all put night creams, makeup and so many things. The visage is what we show every day, but we are absorbing horrible particulate matter throughout the year.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I feel the debate was very politicized, if I can say so, but the whole matter itself is being. But in 2015, there is a statistics, the global disease burden statistics, which show that there is 1 lakh plus deaths which are premature. So it's due to the pollution which needs really strong actions, and of course the stubble burning in this cold air will lead to more pollution, but I'm definitely seeing a very high spike in my allergy patients. Interestingly, my take here would be that everybody should use a mask, avoid outdoor activities for the next 3 to 4 weeks at least, even when it settles, because the 1.6 meter of the air which we are all walking in is going to contain the matter, the particulate matter, even if it settles. And many places in Delhi is having horrible AQI, even reaching up to 900, which is extremely scary and a sad situation.
I mean, that's concentrated levels.
Extremely sad.
Dr. Jayesh Titiyal is a professor of ophthalmology at AIIMS. How do you see an impact on your patients in the last few years when pollution load goes so high?
I think today we are talking about air quality index, what we see from my side as a ophthalmologist to patient coming with redness, with allergies, red eyes, pain, watering, and the index goes up there also. Number of people coming with those disorders will indicate what type of air quality we are facing. And looking to eyes, it's not the one particular sector of people going to affect it. It's the children, it's the working people, it's the older age group, all of them are affected by the pollution. What we think today is, affecting the body, but if you look into eyes, it's really managed by the tears.
Yeah.
Today we are having a toxic tear. Like we breathe a toxic air, there's a toxic tears in the eyes because of this PM 2.5 is causes change of tear osmolarity. The osmolarity goes up. Similarly, the pH of a tear also changes to acidic, and that makes the tear acidic, and that causes chronic inflammatory change to the eyes. That can cause severe dry and subsequent life of a person. Similarly, those people who are working and they are using contact lenses, they already have a dryness, and it's going to really create a havoc in their ocular surface. And people who are suffering from a various systemic disorders like diabetes, hypertension, that is going to have a change in the eyes also. We have increased number of people having diabetic retinopathy. There is a significant change in the number coming with a hemorrhage in the eye. Like you have the white part which is called conjunctiva. There is a repeated hemorrhage happening without any insult to the eyes, the trauma. So that's because of a change in the blood circulation, change in the profile of the arterial and venous, the membranes which actually surround the vessels. So this is what has happened. And we have seen across the time, young people have a lot of allergies. And once they have allergy, they're going to have a refractive error. Their vision can get totally distorted. Like young person talking about their physical activities, that really gets hampered with these toxic air which is going around. And we have seen people getting myopic, not because of reading much more nowadays, because of pollution that is creating their vision so defective.
No, it's
so
crazy.
It's really creating
it's absolutely frightening. And I think this one point is something we don't really focus on enough. Yes, we have spoken about the politics on this program because we are trying to figure out what our political leaders are doing. But the reason we are asking these questions is because of what these three doctors have actually said. And it is unbelievable, the harm and the direct statistical link now between mortality and air pollution which has been established. We are not talking just for the sake of talking. We are talking because there are studies which we've repeatedly brought you which actually show this link. But I'm going to go across for a few comments over here in the back. Sir, quick comment you wanted to make, go ahead. Or a question.
I have come here to ask a question from my daughter's side. She's 5 years old, her school is off. She's asking why I cannot go and play in open and why I need to wear this.
Yeah.
I just need an answer.
Yeah. So there is a 5-year-old child, his daughter, who actually wants to know why can she not play in the park and why does her father make her wear this horrible black mask on her face. Would either three of you in simple terms explain to a child, maybe 5, 6, maybe older, in simple terms why? Would you like to take that?
I think the only way you can explain such a thing to a child, it's such an emotional thing if a parent has to explain that to a child. But the problem is that you just can't afford to have the children go out and play, and you will have to tell the child in some way, like possibly tell her that it's very bad for her health, that people, the government, everyone is trying to make something better out of this, get the environment to be better, but obviously nothing is working, and that we have to take certain steps and hopefully tell her that it's going to be temporary. We have all the political parties here. Hopefully it will be temporary.
Promising us that it's going to be temporary.
The moon. Yeah.
But Gitika, let me ask you that question. As a teacher, how do you convey to a child what is happening to them?
Like I said earlier, the paradox of it all is appalling because he said we need to explain it now that you can't go out for health reasons, and when those children look at us at recess time and after the lunch hall, ma'am, do we go up or do we go out to play, and you tell them go out to play, and theirs is anyway a childhood which has already been taken over by technology, and we spend half the year trying to drive them out of the out of the technological gamut of the iPads and their video games, and we always tell them play in the sun and you get vitamin D from sunlight and fresh air is good for you, and then suddenly this happens and it reverses everything that we have to teach, and we have to again tell them to protect themselves first and everything else comes later. So it's a very hard situation for us.
I'm going to take a short break at this stage and then come back to one of the most important parts of this program, something we've not focused on at all. What young children out on the roads, those from an economically poor background, deal with in a situation like this, and how they end up suffering a lot more than perhaps all of us in this audience. That's coming up. Welcome back. We've been tracking the air pollution in the National Capital Region, and we've been trying to speak to doctors, we've spoken to teachers and others, but one area which we've not focused on at all are the underprivileged, people who are economically underprivileged, children and their parents, others who are out on the roads. The Uday Foundation works very closely with them, their founder Rahul Verma with us. When you deal with young children or their parents out on the roads in a situation like this, realistically, is there any option that you can tell them or give them?
Vishnu, homeless remain invisible to all of us. You are doing this program. Please don't take it personally. From last 15 minutes, so we get a chance to speak in the last. At least, but you gave us a chance. You Google any news, you go to Google. Last news on homeless was done by Al Jazeera in 2018 or 17. Around two years back. There is not a single tweet, only in last 5 days, about homeless and the pollution. The only tweet is by Vikram Chandra. That too around 3-4 hours back. No one is talking about homeless. Homeless, they are prone to this, they are facing pollution every day of the entire year. There's a pollution on the road, the construction thing is happening every day. We have a dust on the road. We have this, now this kind of pollution is there. And there is nothing, we don't find any kind of a hope. We try to distribute, government is distributing face mask and all, we are trying to distribute. But to be very honest, you can check with the environmentalist or the doctor. We don't have any specification of mask. We go by some, whatever chemist is selling to us. I don't think any mask is working. The air is going inside and sometimes it choked.
Is that the big challenge, actually,
training
people to use the mask
Number
properly?
one. Number two, Akshay is sitting here from government. So can he assure me that tomorrow you are going to have some kind of a medical camps? You are doing a dengue pe war and so many things. It's an emergency. Can you please, you have mohalla clinics, you have hospitals, you have everything with you. From tomorrow, can you run some free clinics for the people on the road who are suffering with this kind of thing? Can you distribute some medicine to them? Can you issue some guidelines of which mask to purchase, which not to purchase?
Would you like to answer that?
Just a second, let me
reaching out to people.
Vishnu, let me complete.
Yeah.
Some children are sitting here with a mask. Can you just check with them which mask they're buying, purchasing?
I should also tell you some of these children actually distribute masks on the roads as well. So we've got those kids as well.
Number two, it is your responsibility. It is a business of air purifier, of so many things are happening. You have to please control the same thing. And I'm not only asking, I'm asking from everyone. I can see your anger. You are not smiling at all from last 15 minutes.
No, but one second, Rahul, you've asked, let him answer your questions.
Yeah.
You've asked questions, let him give an answer. His specific point is the government in Delhi going to do more to reach out to the homeless in a situation right now when we face this danger?
Vishnu, obviously the homeless problem is a huge problem in Delhi. Apart from that, we have a large underclass of Delhi who sends their children to government schools, who live in the unauthorized colonies of our cities, who are usually ignored by most governments. But in the last few days, we have started distribution of 50 lakh masks through our government schools, through private schools, so that people who don't have access to resources to purchase those masks do have some kind of protection. It may not be perfect, it may not be the best solution, but at this point in time, when a state government doesn't have control over what air is coming inside, it's the best we can do. Of course, we will be doing more in the future. We have 300 mohalla clinics for exactly this, for primary healthcare in various parts of the city.
Actually,
where there is no other source of...
I entirely agree that you are giving free medicine, free treatment, everything. But if I'm a homeless, if I go to your clinic, मेरा पूरा दिन का पैसा गया. रात को मेरे पास दवाई तो खाने को है, मेरे पास रोटी नहीं बचा खाने के लिए. आप समझ रहे हैं, पूरा दिन मैं सड़क पे काम कर रहा हूँ, रात को मैं दवाई खाऊंगा या रोटी खाऊंगा. So boss, सिंपल सा चीज ये है, 15-20 दिन का अभी प्रॉब्लम है, मेजर है, उसके बाद सब लोग भूल जाएंगे, सो जाएंगे अपने घर के अंदर, हम सड़क पे ही पड़े रह जाएंगे। अभी ये है कि आप लोग उनके लिए कुछ कीजिए, दवाई बांटिए या खाना बांटिए या मास्क दीजिए। मास्क का अभी डॉक्टर्स कहते हैं कि मास्क सक्सेसफुल नहीं है, कैन यू इंश्योर कि वो आप टेस्ट कीजिए कि वो सक्सेसफुल हो रहा है। तो अब स्कूलों को इतना बांट रहे हैं, होमलेस आपके आंकड़ों के हिसाब से कुल 50,000 है, हमारे हिसाब से तो लाखों में है। आप कल जाके सुबह को मेरे को ऐसा कुछ मैं सो के उठूं, ऐसा ट्वीट मिले कि आप लोग मास्क बांट रहे हो वहाँ पे, और हम सब भी बांटेंगे, जितने भी लोग बैठे हैं सब करेंगे।
There were some students in the back who actually distribute masks to the homeless. Is that right? Who does that? Can you raise your hand? You distribute masks to the homeless? Isn't this wonderful?
Yes.
How fabulous this is. When did you start doing this? Where did you get the masks from? Are you spending your own money sometimes?
I spend my own money और मैं मेडिकल स्टोर से जाके खरीदती हूँ तो जो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हेल्प कर सके। और छोटी सी एक कोशिश है कुछ लोगों को बचाने के साथ साथ मैं एजुकेट भी करती हूँ कि क्योंकि कई गरीब लोग हैं जो सड़क पे ही सोते हैं, वहाँ रहते, तो उनको ज़्यादा वो चीज़ नुकसान पहुँचा रही है।
Are you in college or are you in school?
I am in a college. I am a journalism student.
And since when did you start doing this?
From few days.
And how many masks do you have any idea that you've been able to distribute by yourself? Actually, 10, 15, 20?
Yeah, actually there are some my students also, my classmates, वो भी मेरे साथ ये काम करते हैं। मैं उनको भी बोला, हमने एक लोग टीम बनाई हुई है हम लोगों ने, जो हम अपनी तरफ से कर सकते हैं, 5-6 मार्क्स या 10 मार्क्स बांटने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं, तो हम अपने तरीके से पूरा कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं।
I think that's absolutely wonderful, and a round of claps for this young student who spends her own money and with her group of friends. Now she's distributed just 10 or 15 masks, but even one mask makes a difference. Absolutely. And that's a start, and that's fantastic. I'm running out of time. I want to come to you and you. Tips for people. Just spend 1 minute each, and then we'll wrap this program. First to you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thanks. You know, as a dermatologist, quick tips would be this mask is of course effective, but only if it is tight, and you have to drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. Alone carrots won't work. Anything red, yellow, green and purple, these are the colors which increase adaptogens in our body, increase our immunity. People are developing vasculitis, which is like red petechiae, and getting a lot of rashes. So I think even the government, since we are discussing so much, can distribute beside masks even vitamin C simple tablet, which is 25 paisa, can save you currently.
I think that's an important
point. Giving vitamin C about 1000 mg for adults and about 500 mg for children will help tremendously fight this pollution and reduce the respiratory infections, because inflammation will reduce and the artery size will reduce. Other than that, even vitamin E capsules can be distributed free of cost to tide over this emergency.
Okay, 30 seconds to you, doctor, before I wrap this up. Basic things which people need to be done. Yeah.
People need to
do. Yeah.
People need to stay indoors. They really can't expose themselves to the outside. They need to have air purifiers, unfortunately. Otherwise, they'll have very bad air to breathe, because indoors is also very highly polluted sometimes. And I think a prayer from everyone's side, because I don't see the government's doing anything, frankly.
Before I wrap this
I would
up,
like to say one thing. The central government, I think, is 90% to blame. AAP also maybe to some extent, but the central government has to do much more to bring down the pollution. Because
well, there is one important initiative tomorrow. It's odd even. As I wrap up this program, can you send a message to people watching this on what you expect them to do and why it's important? Again, just very quickly, yes.
You know, Vishnu, I think, and to all the viewers, when you have such a huge crisis, every little bit is going to count. So all the vehicular emission that we are putting out right now is just adding to our crisis. It's adding to our public health emergency. So starting tomorrow is 4th of November, so all even numbered vehicles will be allowed to fly on the street. I would really urge and appeal to all Delhiites, just like you did the last time, please come forward and join this as a public movement. It cannot work as a government imposed means of solving this problem. It has to be a public movement. People have to join hands and work together. Okay. And this will go on until 15th of November from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I think the rest of the details everybody already knows, but it's just about willingness to come forward.
And I think that's a really important message. It's a message which everybody needs to participate in. I'd like to thank everybody over here, all the wonderful teachers and students and doctors and political leaders. The expectations are huge. That's because the problems are huge as well. We're not going to let go of the subject. We will keep tracking this very, very closely. It's our health. It's our right to breathe.